So how's it been? How's the game been?
Pretty good. I'm definitely very happy to be talking to you because there's some changes I want to make in like how I'm doing things, and I'm not
Hmm.
exactly sure how to go about it, but overall I'm having a great time with the game. I've been playing for coming up on a year now.
Okay, nice. So you've done like one whole cycle of all the annual events and summer, winter, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I started like right as Identisk started.
Okay, but you've been having overall a good time. I guess you've already seen quite some quality of life stuff, and you're like at that beginning of the localization 3.0, and thank God Reboot didn't immediately take a nosedive
Yeah,
and
I
we
was
got
definitely glad
inkilled.
about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can only imagine just starting and then immediately being like, oh yeah, by the way, this server is getting killed. It's like, oh, that would be.
Honestly, there was a big moment of me going, do
Yeah,
I
do I
even
even
want to keep doing
continue?
this if this
Yeah.
is like this questionable?
Yeah, yeah. No, very relatable. Yeah. Um, just tuned in. Oh yeah, there was one person one time who had good fams. Okay, guys, chill. Um, okay. And you said you wanted to do some things differently. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so as I've kind of like, I just hit 276 on my cane. I'm progressing into like what most people would call maybe late game. I know there's a lot of amusing differences of opinion about where that is.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm mid-lib, I just started doing Kalos, working on Hard Saren, that kind of thing. Um, and one thing that I'm kind of starting to encounter is as I get into the later game, there's a whole lot of really punishing systems that I just don't super enjoy interacting with. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like the massive increase in amount of time it takes to level, things like pitched boss. I mean, even Eternals, like if you just boom those, there's nothing you can do really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
Welcome to welcome to late game. Yeah.
and I'm honestly just like even waiting for Arcanes, I was not having a great time. So rather than like trying to push really hard to get into like the later game where you have to interact with those a whole lot,
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of leaning towards just I already love playing a lot of characters. I kind of rather just make a lot of like semi-main boss mules and just
Mm-hmm.
not try to go further into the game. And so a lot of my questions are going to be about how to push that
Sure.
goal.
Mm-hmm. So you're planning to not like even keep up with like some dailies and weeklies on the main, or you would do that, but just not.
I mean, I'm good with doing dailies, but like my absolute maximum farming that I do for day is like 30 minutes, and looking
Mm-hmm.
at like the EXP calculators going, "Oh, that will take me like 8 months just to hit 280 and then
Mm-hmm.
years to hit 285."
Yeah. No, yeah, that's definitely that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, I'm
There are definitely
definitely like
events,
I'm a
right?
daily.
Events will speed
Sorry,
it
go
up.
ahead.
You've got like the Tomato Punch Kings, that kind of events will, Transcendent Potions. Those could,
Hmm.
speed it up quite. So it's never going to be exactly that if you do keep up with the half an hour a day. But yeah, it does get into the territory of being longer. I just did the half hour a day all the way to 285, and then now I'm also at the point where I'm going back to another character and trying to see if I can get some more stuff done there, because you want to feel like you're progressing at least a little bit. And my character is, doing the bosses and everything, but yeah, if you don't hit that one pitch you still need, or if all the pitches that you still need, and your Eternals don't go, and you have all your special rings, then yeah, it's not that much for you to look out for.
Hmm.
Except just endless grinding, which, a lot of people like that about the game, so for them it's a dream, but I'm not one of those people, so
No,
that's why I
that's
also
that's
have a
not for
bunch.
me.
Yeah, I have a bunch of extra classes built out as well for that reason, so I can experience more of the game through different lenses, and so that I can also play with like more different people that are in different stages, and I always have a character there that doesn't carry and doesn't get carried, so that's kind of like funded for that stage, I guess. So that's something for you as well to think about, or maybe you've already thought about that, is like what stage of the game would you bring these characters to, and or different stages, right? Like they don't have to all gravitate towards the same position, they could just stay at certain positions in the game.
Yeah, that's definitely like I have questions down at the bottom, and that's a lot of what the questions are about is like
Mm-hmm.
breakpoints where character, what level it's worthwhile to go for certain goals, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. So for the late game bosses now, were you already wondering like, is it worth it to go for 280, 285, that thing?
Yeah, I've looked at like I don't think that realistically. I know a lot of people uh group Kain and normal Kalos together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would ever want to push further than those two on most of my characters, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
At least until they like put in another EXP crunch at minimum. But
Yeah,
like a
which I
question
think they might
of
honestly, but you know.
I mean, I'm sure they will in like 2 or 3 years, but I don't want to plan around something that far.
Yeah, they might wait for more 300s in KMS. I think there's some 297s approaching 298 there. I think, but it's really just one from what I saw, and then a handful of 297s. So they still have quite a way to go.
Yeah, but like one of my big questions is definitely I've looked at like the formulas and it seems like being below the level of the boss is pretty punishing. So there's a question of like if I stop at certain levels but I'm well funded, will I be able to do bosses that are above my level? Is that really unfeasible? That's definitely one of my big questions because that will determine like what level I want to take some characters to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you want to do normal Kalos is at the. I have to make a tab for that because remembering the levels of the entry of the content and of all of the bosses with like different. It was just too much to remember. So normal Kalos is 275 and then 280 for P2. So you're at 4 levels below now, which is minus 8.2% FD. So that's not insanely bad, but if you can get to the level, yeah, you can like 91. Is it 91 point? Let's see. Yeah, no, minus 4 now. So. Yeah, so it's almost 20% FD gain just from levels. But you've done Kalos now, right? Easy Kalos and
Yeah,
also
I've
Easy
done Easy
Kaling?
Kalos, not Easy Kain. I have a group that's currently working on Hard Saren, but it's definitely a skill issue, knowledge issue, rather than a damage issue for that. We're pretty juiced.
Okay. Yeah, then
I'm
Easy
like the
Kaling will be
weakest
the same
person in that
thing.
group.
You're what?
I'm like the weakest person in that group at like
Okay.
85 mil.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Easy Culling is going to be the same, where it's just really just like practicing and kind of seeing like who has what damage, who goes where, and just like making sure that you don't die. And then once you've got that down, it's really not a damage check when you're at that point of the game. It's really just a mechanics check. Normal Kalos is a bit more of a can be a bit more of a mechanics check, but with the the easing up of the mechanics with the last thing, the jump from easy to normal is not the craziest. The boss fight is just a bit longer, and because easy culling probably for you at this point is just just straightforward, very easy, just like nuke, just test,
Yeah, we're just
right?
doing the 2-2-2 and getting out of it in like 5 minutes.
Yeah. So normal Kalos might already be possible for your team. Have you looked at the Maple Scouter at all as like for indicator or done BAs for indicator?
I've done BAs. I have not
Mhm.
done much of a Maple Scouter. I admit to not understanding all that much about how that works.
Basically, they're trying to have, the game has over the years tried to have some kind of indicator for us of like how strong you are. It used to be the damage range. Now it's like the combat power. But all of these stats are lacking in context, right? Like IED is not part of it, for example, now or in the past. That was just a number, but that already had percentage damage calculated into it, but not percentage boss damage. So then if you're comparing items, it looks like an item will give you a lot of range, but it's actually fake because percentage damage is already included in the damage range, but then boss damage isn't, so the percentage damage is basically overvalued if you're looking at, if you're trying to compare items in a Smega or something like that, which is also why when anyone Smegas, can anyone please link an item? just ask for the stats, because like if you're linking an item to compare the range, you're comparing apples and oranges, so it's not a good idea. But now with combat power, it's a bit more accurate, but now it's more of an accurate number based on like how geared is your character, more like it, versus, you know, how strong is your character. So what the Scouter in Korea tried to do is based on numbers of how much it takes people to actually clear bosses, and then how strong people are, but taking everything into account. So like the Hexa Matrix, the IED, basically all, your level, your sacred power, your arcane power, right? To give you like for every single piece of content, like a value that would, would be comparable to this kind of value. You could compare to other people as well, and roughly be comparing equally in terms of how much of a chance do you have of even killing this boss properly. So it basically takes the place of a BA, because even though the BAs, they made it so that, you know, the in KMS as well, they made it so that the skills don't go on cooldown and all that, but it's still a bunch of work and still a bunch of stuff you could potentially fuck up. And this will just shit out all the theoretical numbers, and you can see like, what if I just leveled 4 times, for example? Like, how would that change my damage output in all of these bosses? For example, like if I wanted to level 4 times, like what would happen to what would happen to these numbers, you know? Would that be enough of a difference, and would I not have to make many upgrades for it to already count? That's kind of the idea behind this.
That's very interesting, yeah. I knew it could do that top part, but the bottom part seems like I would have a lot of fun messing around with it.
Yeah, for example, now there's an event skill, so you could theoretically be like, okay, what if I put like 2 ranks in critical rate, and then, you know, 3 in this and 2 in that? Like, would that give me more total damage than another setup in the event skill, for example? You know, if you really want to min-max, it can take all those things into account and give you somewhat of at least a decent prediction as to what would be a realistic percentage. And then you can also use that towards looking for a party, but you know, you're already in a party, but as a goal for other members to make sure that you are at least damage wise on the right track. And then you could just purely focus on the hands, because you won't have to, you know, min-max anymore with or doubt too much anymore whether you're even going to be able to make it, if you, granted, you have perfect hands, you know. So
yeah, that's definitely something I should go for then. I have a friend who's been wanting to teach it to me anyways, so.
Yeah, you can see the difference between the bosses here. Yeah, so you can see like percentage-wise which ones are pretty close. So you can see like Easy Kaling here is definitely under Heart's Saren in terms of like the damage required. Just the and you see the score here changes a bit. So that's because of the level. And also because of the there's no sacred or eternal like required here. And then this one changes, I'm not sure. Oh, and then this one, so this one goes up because this one has 380 PDR and this one only has 300, but then it goes down again because this one gives you, or it goes down because of the extra. Oh, no, this should go double up, right? Why is this the same number? Sometimes I don't even know exactly what is going on.
I think normal Kaolin is 285. Am I making that up?
I believe so, but I believe so. Maybe she's only. But so is Lotus.
Oh, never mind. Wow, I thought I had solved the problem so smartly.
Well, I think. Well, we're going from 380 PDR to 300. It's the same level, and you get bonus damage from Sacred here, which you don't get here. So I feel like this number should be higher on normal Kaling. Maybe I'm overlooking something. Chat, what am I overlooking? Here the number goes down because of the higher Sacred Power requirement, but I already meet that max, so I'm not sure why it goes down here. Here it goes up for sure because of the Arcane Power. Because 4 man. These all have the same number. Even though hard calling. Oh, but that's because I added. Well, I added 4 levels, so I added 288. So if something is. Hard calling is also 285. No, they're all 285. The percentages? No, the converted value here. I was checking why the converted value is the same here as here. Even though this character has a less PDR, is the same level, and I get Sacred Power bonus damage here that I don't get here. And yeah, it gives me the same converted stat. Might be overlooking something. Here it's higher because you get more bonus damage to this one. That makes sense because this one is a lower level. I'll look into that later. And you know, these numbers aren't perfect, right? These are also scaled to people who have done the runs and how long it took them to take the runs. Should be taking level into account because your sacred is the same. Yeah, but sacred doesn't apply to this guy, so wouldn't I have a different converted stat on this guy than on this guy? Isn't that the whole point of converted stat? Like, these should be the same, and these should be the same, because they have the same... Although, no, this guy has more PDR. This guy's 380, well, these guys are... Oh, no, these are all 380, because they're sacred, yeah. Grandest bosses, sorry. Oh, yeah, they are 380. Okay, okay, so that part is the same. But the sacred is different. Shouldn't? Oh, please don't type the exact opposite of what you just said, because that confuses me. I don't know. We'll look into that. We'll look into that part. I think Kobe did have a video on it as well. I'm sure he's broken it all down, because in Korea they've been using this for quite a bit longer already, and working out the kinks. And also, you know, it is built with Korean info, right? So like the extra attack speed and stuff, I heard that there should be support coming for that soon, to slightly adjust the numbers for us in GMS. So hopefully you get that soon. To hit 100%? Yeah, but I'm not hitting 100%, I'm hitting 125%, right? Yeah, whatever. Okay, so level barrier, I think you will, with the extra levels, like slowly leveling up, I think you will be fine for to do Saren, easy culling, and up to normal Kalos, I would say.
Okay, and you would probably agree.
Jump past, yeah.
Oh, you would probably agree that if I don't want to go much past that, if I'm not looking to level, like, definitely never past 280.
Yeah, that's really if you're trying to go for normal culling might eventually become possible also at 280, but then yeah, the level dip is gonna level dip is really gonna hold you back again with like the final damage down. But you could kind of like blue ball there with the same team if they keep all grinding. You know, to double up the speed into the Eternals and everything, and you'll keep gaining a little bit of damage if you do hit Eternals, right? And if you do hit pitched along the way, but without the levels is really if you're trying to go for like Extreme Lotus and into Limbo later. And yeah.
Yeah, and like Limbo looks fun. It looks like a cool fight, but just if I was putting that much time into grinding, I'd rather have like 3 characters at 275 than 1 character at 285.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very personal thing. If that's what you're looking for, then yeah, 280 would be like your peak goal. And who knows, by then, you know, they could switch some things up. Maybe there's other ways of getting EXP, right? Or like you said, like an EXP curve, maybe something. So then you can always adjust.
Yeah, that would definitely be nice from my perspective, but yeah.
Do you think your party has like the same goals for now, or you think they have the goal of keep on going the whole time?
I think a lot of them are looking to move further into late game than me, which is definitely a bummer. I like the people that I'm playing with, but I just like... At the end of the day, I would like to play in a way where I have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that can be a tough call. No, I'm in the same way, yeah. There were some people pushing, and then I switched characters to a different party. and now the other party wants to push as well. But it's like, yeah, my second character just isn't at that level. If you guys want to push and you need more damage, then I'm okay stepping down on that party, and we do other things together, and we still see each other. So it's not like you lose them forever. But yeah, if you have a mismatch, and this happens with like guilds, with parties, with buddies, like if you are on a different path, then you have to sometimes say goodbye and then meet each other in another life.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. But yeah, I think this will help you just to visualize it a little bit better, and to give you an idea of how far away you could be with those levels. I think you would be surprised, and you probably still have some. Well, maybe not for bonus damage, but you still have some stat gain from sacred symbols as well, right? Because that just keeps going. Always kind of underestimate how much that can give. I don't know what character. Oh, I'm on the Dark Knight, yeah. So you can't really see on this guy, but there is a good amount of stat that just comes from just keeping up with those dailies and those weeklies.
Yeah, and I don't mind doing that. I love doing dailies because they're little tiny chunks, and my ADHD loves just jumping between them.
Mm-hmm.
It's the sitting down to grind where I'm just like, no, can't do this. I've done one WAP in my life, and I will never do one again.
Not even like TV shows or anything like that can.
No, Although to be fair, I play very active grinders mostly, like Kain, especially 3-second mastery core is a lot of work. And so it's very hard to actually focus on something else. So who knows? That could change if I got, I don't know, onto Bishop or Demon Slayer or someone with really good farming.
Mm-hmm. Or, with the... Because you have had Sol Janus now for a bit, right? Has that changed anything for you? Or do you still just play the active way and then...
I've basically just stayed the same, but Dusk lets me get, 500, 1k higher in some maps, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I am not the most funded in the world, so I can't one-shot with Dawn and Shangri-La anyway, so I just use my harder hitting abilities. I can hit 17k, and that's pretty good, I think.
17k most, yeah, that sounds solid. Yeah, anything above that is then you're looking at full coverage with summons, and always putting something up to cover the map while you're going around looting.
Yeah, and I don't have vac pets anyways, so looting is painful.
I see. Yeah, that will make things a little bit different for sure. Yeah, so I was just checking for mine here. So mine is now because I'm working on Carcion. So now I'm at 590. So that's 13.6k from the symbols. So that's an extra 6k stat, just by continuing on with the regular daily routine without really going hard on the grinding.
Mm-hmm.
That does definitely add up. And then yeah, the amount of stat you can get from pitches if they eventually hit. But that's the other thing. I think it's perfectly normal for people to have. It's typically either a 275 or a 280 or a 285, really, just depending on how much people play, where they feel it's definitely slowing down a lot, and I want to make sure I maintain my level of enjoyment, so I'm going to take a step back and look towards another character. We've had, I think, the last 5 sessions, 2 or 3 had a similar kind of vibe on that, where it's yeah, I still want to progress, but I can see the mountains of time this is going to cost, and I want kind of a backup plan kind of thing. So you've had other characters in mind to invest in?
Yeah, so I have 3 other characters that are above 260 and have 6th job right now. My Evan is definitely my first character I want to go hard on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping to start lib with it in September, after this 5, 10, 15, where I can dump 50 bill into it. It already has all the backups. It's just waiting on a time when I actually felt good putting money into it.
Mm-hmm.
I have my Hayato. That was my hyperburn for this event. It has a little bit of 6th job now, but it definitely needs to pick up some backups before I can really start thinking about pushing it too much further.
Mm-hmm. And
Adele
that could
also
happen while you're on the Evan, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's one of my big questions is I would like to be able to put characters at places like, oh, this character can comfortably do party C10, and then I can just leave it there for a while to get
Mm-hmm.
boxes.
Sure.
And like, I feel like I don't have a good idea of how to gauge what's needed and what's not for places like that, so that I can
Right.
just leave them there and then do just weeklies and come back in a bit and go, oh, look, I have arcane boxes. I can
Yeah.
push this character without it being really painful.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, whether you have 6 job unlocked or not is a pretty big deal, and then whether you actually level up the 6 job is like another level of funding your character, right?
Hmm.
So I'm assuming for all of these projects, so you're thinking of all things just 260 plus, like taking into account at least having your origin and then your 2 masteries unlocked.
Yeah, I have like my Evan currently has 9 masteries and 1 of the 5th job boost course
Mm-hmm.
and level 1 origin, and that's definitely been enough to get it into a lot of stuff that I wouldn't be able to do otherwise, which is very nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it would be easy to say like, oh, just get this level of funding for all your characters and be fine. But every character peaks at different times, right? Has different strengths and
Hmm.
different weaknesses. In general, though, if I had to look at like where my characters are at, so my characters are built to, I would say, probably min max. They can do like solo hard lucid hard will. So at 260, that's probably kind of like my goal. But I would only do that for the liberation quest. Other than that, I would always like either try to do, I always try to duo it just to get it done in a more reasonable time frame. And there's always someone around with some characters that also wants to duo, and that is basically in a similar situation where they could probably technically solo it, but take forever, and you want to get more juice out of your G skills, and not spend your entire day always bossing on a million characters, right? So
Hmm.
that's usually like around, I would say, 40 to 45 mil combat power, like a general guidance. Um, that should be enough to like min max. But there is some difference between classes, right? Like for example, like my Buccaneer could probably do it, but he's got a roar 4 and has pretty good 3-minute burst, so I can probably nuke through it. And then my Mial, I don't know if he's going to be able to do it because I got like a weapon jump 3 on there, so it's still a few sizes smaller. And that's one of the other things that you want to be looking at if you're looking towards pushing characters into, hard lucid duoing, hard lucid hard will duoing, or maybe soloing, and then maybe towards C10A on like a 3 or 4-man party that can always scale down to like a 2-man party. I'll be probably looking towards 2-man C10A on those characters as well, but only after they lib, because that's like a really big jump, and then hopefully before then as well they hit like better rings, which means their combat power will probably jump, I would say probably up to like 60 to 65 mil at least to be able to start doing that. But I will probably fund them more with other items by then to make that more doable, but with that same strategy that you're looking at with like, okay, now I can probably have some boxes here and there. Maybe I can walk the arcanes up to 19. Maybe I can make sure they'll have 21 CRA, but maybe I can make sure that all of the 17 or 18 star superior gear all goes up to 20 as well. And then maybe finish up some rest of the accessories. Maybe one more round of cubing to maybe get everything to like all the accessories at least to like 2.5 line to like 24-27%, and then with libbing they should probably all be like around 80 mil combat power probably, which is probably like min clear solo C10, but I would that would just be too much chaos. I'll probably just like duo then, and the goal would be then to do just like full C10A duo, hopefully like within like half an hour.
Yeah, that's honestly that sounds pretty reasonable. I know my goal for like some of these characters very, very long term is like get to 275, be able to full solo C10, but that's definitely like probably years out with the amount that I play.
Yeah, so 275 is not as necessary. So technically 270 would be capped there. And that would only be for
No,
Dark now, because he's
275 would be so that I could do like just like party Ekalos or
yeah.
party Ekalin, that
Would
kind of
that
thing, and
be
slowly get Eternals.
yeah? You would want to do that on multiple characters as well.
Yeah, like honestly, I would like to play a lot of characters like their mains and just to not push them past a certain point.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. So I'd say like the goal for the shorter term goal will probably to see if you can get them all to like solo Hard Lotus or Damien.
Mhm.
So that should, yeah. So that again, that varies per character, but probably like around, if you're looking for like a min clear or something, some people probably do it like below 20 mil combat power, but then you have very long runs. Usually for my characters, I'm looking for more for like 35 to 40 to get like a clear like under 15 minutes, maybe like around 10 to 12 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure my Evan could already be doing that if I was willing to do 20-25 minute runs, because it already does like kills a normal slime before first test is the metric I would give.
Yeah, okay. If you kill, so like in one burst or just right before
first test. Evan's pretty DPM heavy, so I kill like 10 seconds before first test happens.
Okay. So that would be closer to like my do you have any special rings on it?
No, I swear I'm cursed by special rings. I have like I've seen a total of 1 black ring box on my Kain and nothing else.
Mm-hmm. Got the ultimatum ring?
No, actually, I'm a Berserker ring gamer. I've gotten 3 Berserker 3s from green boxes.
Very nice. Those kind of do something, right? But not very useful. But
I think they make you ignore all defense and decrease your attack. If I'm remembering that right.
Okay. Does not sound like the best ring in the world. Okay, yeah. Well, so that's a big thing, because I've seen like around 40 mil combat power, but I mean that's with or like around 35 mil or something. But then that's with a Roar 4, and it's like, well, if you don't have Roar 4, then how much of a difference is that? Does that mean you need like 45, or do you need 50 to come up, right? It's again, it's like for a pretty imperfect number. Yeah, so before, if you could do if you normal slime before test, then I'm pretty sure you're like mid-clear level for Hard Lotus. But Hard Lotus is just new now, so it's probably going to be take a little bit of getting used to.
I haven't even been able to go into it since the remaster.
Mm-hmm. So that'd be that. But the good thing about doing more of a min clear or doing like a practice clear is that you can only get faster, right? Just better hands, it goes faster, and if you make any upgrades, it gets even faster as well. And then you can just every week see the progress that you're making on the character. And yeah, I think that'd be the next goal, right? To see if you can make like Hard Lotus, Hard Damon ready. I was at that point as well, because then you can hopefully get a better input for damaged black hearts, right? So that if you do hit pitches, you can switch to a higher set eventually. And that's a very nice damage boost, of course. Or if you're trying to lib characters a little bit early by getting carry through runs, and they kind of struggle with certain liberation quests, then you can also just throw damaged Blackheart on there for a pretty big damage boost. And that can help as well, making sure you get those clears in so you don't get delayed on the liberation quest, essentially. So they're nice for that. And Hard Lotus is like a good manageable goal, but yeah, how long you want the runs to be and what you can deal with there, that's more personal, of course. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that Evan can do that, the Hayato and the Adele. We're 26, 27 mil raid power here.
Yeah, the Adele definitely can't. It like just hit 260, has Origin and nothing else. The Hayato currently, my girlfriend was the one who got me into MapleStory, and so we trade a lot of stuff. So I'm trading C10y, like Gloom, Lucid Will, just to try to get boxes with her right now.
Oh, gotcha.
Which is also like, I would like to try to get my mate a little stronger, because she has a continuous 4 on her bishop and I have no reins, and oh my gosh, the runs where she carries me are faster than the runs where I carry her.
Yeah, and she's playing bishop, best class in the game, right? So, or next after Kain, of course, but it's pretty close.
Of course.
So my Kain doesn't have a ring yet, and I have around 33.6 mil here, but my runs are like, they're over 10 minutes, but they're definitely under 15 minutes. So that, I guess for ringless characters, no ring, no lib, so that could be, and no 6 job on the Kain.
I mean, that's like better than me. I'm like 20-minute Gloom if I try to carry, so.
Yeah, Gloom is, well, C Gloom or?
Sea Gloom, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Sea Gloom's on I wouldn't try that on that character. On that Kain. I don't think I have enough for that one. Because you have 42, so you'd be more at like let's see. That's more like where my is that where the fire poison? Yeah, fire poison is a little bit weird. Cannon Master's at 44. But they all have rings. My fire poison also doesn't have rings. So, but yeah, I could probably do Sea Gloom on there, but that's not one I'm not gonna do. But so yeah, that's definitely like hard lucid, hard will is not really a problem to solo, right?
Yeah, it's like 15 minutes each, which is pretty comfy because then it's 30 minutes all in buffs.
Mm-hmm.
Will is definitely the bigger problem just because, like, I'm so burst heavy and I lose a lot, especially in phase 1. It's like, well, I can full burst phase 1, the first bar, but then I'm just like waiting around trying to DPM.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you have your 90-second, right? That's
yeah, the 90-second is pretty nice.
Yeah, always only press one of those skills right after he teleported and comes back.
Lord, yes, I have learned that lesson.
Use the binds strategically, right? Having 2 binds available would be nice, but sadly Kain only has one. Well, I guess you have your origin for the other one, right? Try to spread those out to the different sides. But yeah, that can definitely be tricky. I guess you can. Oh god, what would you do? Like 3-minute, yeah. 3-minute, half one side, half the other side, hopefully. But yeah, they're probably not at the level yet where you can.
No, I can actually with my 3-minute, I can half burst one side. If I use like Crip and Thanatos on one side and then Dragon and Fatal on the other side.
Okay.
That will come pretty dang close to doing the whole bar, but I can only do that every 3 minutes, so it's a minimum of 6 minutes in phase 1 for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean you can use your origin on the second part, and they'll definitely come up before the end of the boss fight then.
Yeah. The issue is my origin loses so much damage if it's not used with the 3-minute burst, but also it's like useless overkill if it is, so it's just awkward.
Yeah. You're in that awkward in-between where using it is just for utility for the bind and a little bit extra juice for the burst, yeah. I guess your origin one side, beam and Fatal Blitz the other side, and then finish off with DPM the origin side or something.
That's like the best I've come up with, and it's not great.
No, because then you're still down to 3-minute on P3, which means that you don't have it available for P2 when you get in there. So yeah, there's no ideal solution there, I guess. That's I don't know. Hardwell is already better than it's ever been, but it's still kind of awkward with the tests and with the timings and everything. So it's also one of those bosses you could definitely just duo to get it done faster, because yeah, the chance for a book is like 0 anyway, so those things don't exist.
Book is actually the only pitch I have.
I was gonna say that's probably the only one you have. It's just because I said that, yeah. Well, then you don't. Yeah, you could probably find a pretty decently strong person to run with to get you like priority over other stuff, or you could just give them book prio. They give you Twilight marks or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
or they give you belt prio or something. You know, you can like exchange it maybe if you do lucid well.
Currently, I'm still just trading those carries, because, like, for me, it's worthwhile. I carry some of my girlfriend's characters, and then she carries my Hayato, and it can get the stupid arcane boxes slowly.
Yeah, some characters just hit big quickly, and are seated as hell, and then other characters just takes forever to get anything.
My Evan has been doing Luwil for 6 months, and has not seen a box yet.
Yeah, feels good. Yeah, that's why I mentioned the book, because I have 2 characters that are like coming up in their 4th year of running weekly, and both don't have a book yet.
Oh lord, so that's so depressing.
Yeah, while having prio, so it's not even that I'm like missing out or anything.
You're really validating my feeling of not wanting to progress to a point where pitches are actually important.
Yeah, if you're chasing, like I'm chasing one last piece now. Well, I guess 2 now, because the heart came out, so I have to work on that one as well. But I was just chasing one more down. But yeah, for Sea Gloom, just haven't seen it yet. You know, didn't even had a chance to boom it yet, and Yeah, some people are just completely done in like 4 months, and they're like, "Oh, that's not too bad." And then other people 4 years and still only have like 3 pieces, and that variance can be really demotivating if that's your your sole goal. You know, you have to set some other goals as well to make sure that you don't get completely brain fucked. 4 year one set, yeah, that is very possible. And then possibly one of the ones that you don't even have to star for, so that you didn't even have a chance to fail after you got it. You know, like it's either like emblem or book or a badge. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, but so you're okay with just like pushing the Evan by itself, and then just keep it on as many weeklies as possible, and like the Hayato, and maybe did you mention the Adele as well? You would want to do that one as well?
The Adele currently needs some investment before it can do anything. Like, it got to 260 mostly with mag pots. It's like 12 mil CP. It's like currently on back burner. 2 characters trying to progress is enough, especially because like I included all my Kain gear. I would like to get a little stronger if I can, just so the runs I'm doing can be less painful.
Sure. Okay. Okay, let me make sure to have all the questions in mind going through everything. Breakpoints, funding goals. Yeah, we can. I mean, I guess we can quantify that a little bit better, maybe, right? The breakpoints, funding goals. So for C10, you'd be looking for, because that's the main question. Are you looking for solo? Are you looking for duo? Are you looking for 3 or 4 man, or just pick up 6 mans to try to get rings first, and then with a ring maybe scale it down?
Yeah, if I was to the first breakpoint that I'd really like a lot of my characters to hit is Party C10, just for Arcane's boxes, so they can move into that. The second breakpoint is to be able to join Black Mage parties for Lib, and then the third breakpoint would be probably like my end goal is for a lot of characters is solo C10, but that's very far off.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and like I said, with a lot of characters, like if you're looking at the combat power, you know, libbing and hitting all of your rings with the exact same gear could be the difference between like needing to 3 to 4 man versus technically being able to solo on slightly longer runs that are like maybe like around 15 minutes each or something.
I think 15 minutes would be the maximum for a run I would want to do every week.
Yeah, I think that's for most people. That most people don't want to sit in a single or same boss for more than 15 minutes. I think that's pretty reasonable.
I mean, there's also like Vihilla Dark now. My gosh, I don't usually solo or even like trio those on my Kain still, because I'm just not good at those bosses.
Yeah. Well, the weird thing is, Dark Knell difference isn't as big, but for Vihella, I think the boss becomes a lot easier when you solo, because you have full control over where the boss goes and the cleansing mechanic, and it's really just up to you. But it will come down to like healing fams, right? If you don't have a full set of healing fams and you're just by yourself, it's definitely very, very rough.
No, I have pretty good healing fams.
Yeah. Okay. Any double boss line fams as well, so that the chat can be upset?
I have no boss fams. I never expect to get any, which is part of like why I'm going. Yeah, that's another system I don't want to interact with going into late game. I only even have large drop because of Cernium fams. Like.
Very nice.
I got relatively lucky on that. I got it like my 70th epic.
Wait, did you say 70?
Yeah, like 70 was when I got that large drop.
Okay, I don't know if that's considered lucky, but
oh,
you got it in the end. That's what's important. I think I was in the 60s on one of my characters as well, and it felt horrifying. And then I opened up a boost spec the very next day that had an epic in it, and it revealed large drop as well, and then I got a little bit mad.
No, I do not like the familiar system. I'm like, now that it's in Cernium and I'm leveling things through Cernium, I will take the free fams there, but I never want to go out of my way to try to grind it. Like, 400 uniques for a drop on average? No, thank you. I'll pass. I mean, for a boss damage.
Oh yeah, no, it gets crazy. I'm starting to work on that now, and I'm already regretting it. 2 familiars in, so 70 or 7D. Okay, stop. Yeah, okay. So for those breakpoints, hang on, remind me again. One was
so looking for like
Will?
Able to join Party C10 to get Arcane boxes, which I think is probably similar to being able to super struggle solo Hardlu Will. And then next would be Lib, and next is solo C10. Those are kind of like my 3 big goals for most characters, I think.
But for starting lib, you would want to be able to meet like the minimum requirements to join any party,
Yeah,
or
I would definitely feel better about that rather than just like getting carried through. I
Mhm.
really like the fight, like, but I'd like to actually be able to contribute to it, not just get dragged.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Once your main character gets carried, and you can maybe like, or sorry, not gets carried, but like gets libbed, and you can maybe like 2 or 3 man it, and you can like start exchanging carries. Then that's some extra value you could do, right? If you could find like 3 other characters that have a character they want to have carried, and then you join each one of their runs on one of your characters, then you can start living quite a bit earlier. But it's all
That's
up to
fair.
you on the character. Like some characters are just more fun, if you know that you could technically do the damage to actually do it, and then for some other characters you're like, yeah, this character, so much work in progress. Like the first 4 months or so, I'm just working on getting backups, and then maybe by month 5 I'll start contributing, something like that.
Yeah,
I think it's okay to have
I
like
def
different expectations there on different characters.
that's fair. I'm so tempted to try to do an actual just solo liberation on my Hayato because I love that class, but also that sounds so painful.
Yeah. Once you could skip skip the boss animations, maybe, so you don't lose your stacks of Phantom Blade. Maybe that'll be
Imagine
better.
keeping Phantom Blade up. Sounds fake.
Sounds like a good quality of life improvement for certain classes over others. Okay, so those, yeah, okay. So for Party C10 is solo Louisville, yeah, that's probably at the same. I would say like levels is a bit more important there, because if you're going to include Darknell and he's 265, right? You probably want to start approaching 265. And like Louisville contributing, that's definitely like a 250 thing, just level wise. So if you include 6 job in that, the requirements go down, I would say, quite a bit. Gear wise, I would do, I guess I could jump on a character. Which one do I have that's like the closest? I mean, I'm definitely looking at like CRA is definitely at 21. You could Abso. You would Abso 17. I usually, so Abso or Arcane is like an age-old question.
Yeah,
If you're, yeah.
I see a lot of people talking about like, oh, I put 21 Abso on my mules and that's enough for them to live, but like knowing that I want my characters to go into Arcane, it just seems like so inefficient.
Yeah, so I like doing 20 Abso because that's already so much less risky and so much cheaper than 21. And then with that gear, you can definitely very easily get to soloing hard Lucid and hard Will. And then you can kind of just break your own gear on those characters. And you can get into C10A and then use that to get more boxes. And then with 20 Abso, which is still like relatively cheap because you're just foddering 21 on level 150s, right? And just transferring them up. You save a lot of money up front to get pretty strong. I would go for an arcane weapon though with that set and not go for a 20-star Abso weapon. I did that. I don't like that was a bad decision, honestly. So for my Kain, I did 20 Absos and 17 weapon. I guess I can log onto my Kain, because I would say my Kain could possibly do the things that you're saying, but no special ring yet, and no origin, no 6 job at all yet. So it definitely needs a big boost there. So there's always a possibility for improvement there. So I got to 21 CRA, Black Bee mark at 20, Trident mark is at 18. But I'm looking at, for that first upgrade, you're saying I'm looking at like a lot of like 21s on the very common gear and like 19s or something at like the less common gear. Those are really like the budget spots that I like to get like a lot of gains from your stuff without going into the super spooky or 20 stars, because then you can just 21 to 20 transfer down, right? So like my belt is 21 because I had 2 of them. So then that allows you to kind of like risk it a little bit, right? See if you can transfer into the new one.
For context, like when I'm talking about my Evan, this is a character I've been doing dailies on for almost a year because I knew I wanted to do it. So it has like Heck, I would have to log in to check, but it has like 6 superior belts,
Mm-hmm.
7 earrings, like
Yeah.
infinite dominator pendants and treasures and stuff. Like it
Yeah. So
has the extras, it just has never received the money.
no, I got you. That's kind of That's kind of like where my Adele was at, honestly. Yeah, whole inventory just because I talked to the chat before. Like, what would you rather have, like 100 bill on your account, or like no money, but then the inventory that my Adele has? And everyone was like, definitely the inventory the Adele has, because if you just have a whole wave of those backups, that's just time that you cannot buy, right? And that's why I think it's so good if you're playing a lot of different characters to just keep up with dailies and weeklies on our characters, because that is so much more valuable to have these possible spares than to have a lot more mezzo. So I mean, if you have those, then I would probably be looking at 22ing for those, and you don't even have to transfer hammer if you really have like 6 or 7. If you do end up booming a lot and you end up going down in spares, then you can always still transfer hammer, with the last few pieces that you have. But I think it's totally fun. Like for this character, like I have 21 here because I had a spare, 20 here because I didn't have a spare, or maybe I did and I boomed it. I don't remember exactly. This one had spare, so I took it to 20. This one, I must have had a spare somewhere, but ended up at 18. And then this one, I didn't have dominators. Not really. I think this is the only one I had. Yeah. So I ended up staying at 17. And, 17 kind of falls out of place with everything else here. But this character is strong enough to do what it needs to do because some other characters' items are going a little bit above, right? So that doesn't make it a bad decision. It just, you look at the whole account holistically, whether the character can do what it needs to. Slime Ring is 17, but I should be getting back up, so that will walk up to 19 eventually. 21 on Arcana Treasure, 20 on a Superior, and then this one should be getting replaced with a special ring, so I'm still waiting for that. But yeah, so this character, like stat-wise, here's a 43. This one should be, I mean, I kill Hard Lotus probably in the old Hard Lotus, I'll have to practice on a new one, in like around 10 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit longer, like around 10 minutes. And then, yeah. So that's kind of like a benchmark for you, I guess.
That seems like a good place to shoot for.
Yeah. So it's probably a hard lucid, hard will clear, probably, but I would have to really like sit down and like hammer it out. I really like struggle for that, but I think that would be like that's like a good level, I think, to be at in terms of which backups you can get. Oh yeah, so the weapon is 17. And yeah, the reason for this is just like I had a 20-star Abso on the fire poison, with a tier 6 flame on it, and then I got a weapon from my hard lucid run, from my liberation run, and it came with a tier 5 magic attack flame, and it was only 6 attack lower.
With 0 stars.
With 0 stars, yeah.
That's,
so I was like,
that's kind of gross. My gosh.
Yeah, so I'm like, you could probably just, if you make this shit 20 and keep your weapon at 17, you can still do hard lucid and hard will, and then from there you can just earn yourself your own weapon and then just make a decent upgrade and make sure that that's the upgrade. Because that's like the second part is like, if you do want to go for arcanes, I think that's totally fine as well. But for me, especially if you're funding a lot of characters at once, I think it's okay to have like 1 or 2 characters that you're like getting carries for arcane gear, and you're doing that, and at the same time you're also working for Absos, so that you can also boost the character into 20 or 21, whatever you want to do, Absos, just so that they're all making progress, but you don't have to look for carries for like a dozen characters at the same time, because that can be very annoying, like, scheduling wise.
Yeah,
so that's why I have a few Abso and then a few arcane characters, basically.
So, question in the same vein then, how do you feel about buying arcane weapons? Like my Evan has like 50 lucid, 50 will coins and has never seen a box, and I'm just like, I'd like to push for turns.
Yeah, I would just buy it. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I've heard of people like getting a box the day after they buy it. I feel like you can only start getting the weapon box, especially on a character you care about, after you've already bought it. Like, you have to unlock it first. But yeah, if you get extra, you just have backups for 19 and for 21. That's how it goes. Like my marksman never got a box, never ever, and then I think eventually I bought one, and then the boxes just started raining down until I had like 7 boxes or like 7 weapon backups, and then I just tapped it straight up to 21 and just extracted all the other ones, and then it'd be like, okay, this is my weapon forever now. it's just such a big damage increase. I don't think anyone's ever really regretted buying the weapon, even if you do get a box right after. It's just so good, you know. Yeah, just kind of gimps your character if you don't get one, but yeah, it's so good. Like even this one, so it's 17 star, just a tier 6, nothing too crazy, but it's 539 attack. And this was the weapon I had before this, which was a 19 star Fafnir. I redid the potential since then. It wasn't that good. But that one was 313 attack, so that's, yeah, it's 226 weapon attack increase. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
It was a 60%,
Okay.
65% more, 70% more, yeah.
Well, maybe my Evan will be buying an Arcane Staff for the 30% this weekend.
Yeah, and then you can slam it up to 15, and then you can, even at 15, it'll be a big increase. You can work on the potential, wait for the 5 to 15 and finish the last 2 stars. Because the potential is going to be the expensive part, right? Save as much money for that as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say do that for sure. Yeah. And in general, if you know you're definitely going to be pushing for like 19 arcanes or above, then I would say skipping Abso is probably a good idea. But if you don't know for sure yet if you're going to get that high, then I think going for Abso in the meantime, just to make sure it has decent gear to start building up, is a fine alternative.
That's fair. I will probably not be doing Abso on a lot of my characters then, because, like, as I said, my goal is to kind of play the characters that I play like mains, just stop at a certain point.
Yeah, Abso I think is mainly good if you're funding a lot of characters, or if you're trying to do pure solo progress, and you're just not hitting those arcanes, but you do want to be, but you have the level for like the new bosses, and then you just push up your Absos. That seems like something that you could do in those situations, yeah. But if you're doing them more, yeah, like mains are more a little bit one of a time, and you have those exchange carries, and you're not doing like 8 characters at once, but just like 2 or 3, then I think, yeah, full Arcane.
Three would be a maximum for me.
Yeah, 3 is max. Yeah,
right now, and that's already.
Yeah.
It's a bit.
Well, that's the other thing, right? Like once one character starts hitting, then you can also take that one out of rotation, replace it with another one. You can also do it that way. If you've got it seems like you got a pretty stable hookup there, right? So.
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully, yeah. So that does that answer your question on Absos, Arcanes?
I think pretty well. Yeah. Thank you.
And for the funding goals as well, the later ones. Because there's some characters that, yeah, I mean, I could show some characters, but the ones for me that are a little bit further were like side mains, and then what they end up at is, well, maybe that'd be like your eventual goal, that eventual solo C10A like goal on being able to technically do that, but it would take a while. You want to see one with lib or without lib?
Sure. How about with lib? Because I'm very patient. I will just wait for stuff to happen mostly. Like it's six months of C10, and I'm just considering buying a weapon now.
That is pretty patient. Yeah, I usually see people with that level of patience after like 4 weeks of hard lucid and will, and being like, I still haven't gotten a box, and like, oh, sweet summer child, you have no idea how long these things used to take. The expectations are out there. So this character is well, they have a ring collection here. We got Weapon Jump 3, Con 4, Roar 4, Risk Taker 3. And then, so this is at 260, and the Hexa is, kind of a joke. So this is all this. So you're going to have better Hexa, right? Which will alleviate a little bit the damage requirements. So this has hit some pitch. You got a book like you, and an eye patch that hit, and a ring that stayed at 21. Because that's another thing that you're probably going to be more likely to keep some 21s. Right, because they'll already be really strong, and the set bonuses itself will already be pretty juicy if you have anything else going on. Other than that, it's still 21 on the CRA. This could go to 22, honestly, at this point, right? But I'm at the point now where, like, do I really need to give this character a lot more juice, or is it where I need it to be? Arcanes are at 19. Belt's at 21. So the Superior is also still at 21. I think I have... Yeah, Counter Treasure could be also, like, at 22, but, like, 21s are like really juicy, right? So, but it's almost all 20, 21. This is a transposed old pendant, so this would probably be a Daybreak instead, or a Dominator on one of your characters. The emblem is still like 40 IED with 2-line attack, so that's definitely not like best in slot, whatever, like totally crazy. It does have a potential badge though, so if you don't have one of those, everything else will have to push a little bit harder. But even if you get better attack on the emblem, that'll already put in a lot of work. 7A Monster Parker. Got pretty lucky on the secondary, but this will probably be... You'll probably always want something like 2-line attack, 1-line boss, or 2-line boss, 1-line attack at the least for a secondary. 1 Red Heart, and then but like the weapon just makes up for so much. His flame is a little bit above average, of course. The potential I hit pretty quickly, but this will like make up for so much. This character now, like with this Hexa Matrix, is basically like a 20k. I got pretty close to a 20k culvert. So when it comes to like solo C10A, it should be very doable. Every character has its own challenges, but that would definitely be a level where you can do it. It's not going to be like a 3-minute run, definitely not, but it's very doable.
Okay. Yeah, I think that gives me the information. I'm more worried, honestly, about early breakpoints where I can like park people, let them build up boxes, maybe hit a lucky ring, than later where it's just like, yeah, I just want to progress. I can just do things which are generically efficient and just get more power.
Right. Yeah, their party size will be a huge factor. If you are okay with jumping into some rando parties, just get ring boxes, and then once you have a ring box, then setting up like a static like 2 to 3 man. That's like the amount of damage you need for those is just so much less than if you're trying to go immediately for a solo. And I think even if you play it as a main, those are options you should also options you should not discover, consider? No, explore. There you go. As a main as well, in terms of time management, right? Whether if a week is just a little bit more busy, maybe just jump into a 6-man and just nuke Vihila in the corner and see if you can get a box. And if you have a little bit more time, maybe you build up a boss recruitment for yourself and look for like a 3-man or something, or asking your guild and your alliance and being like, yo, does anyone have another character they need to run on, or can I join anyone's party? Not a carry, but like, a lot of people now have side characters that are all like into 260 and 265, like similar to your Evan, but maybe better geared, and then you can exchange there.
Okay. Yeah, that very, very completely answers that question. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, defining meta game versus late game, that's going to be a very personal thing, right? Have you seen my commands and my information on my channel?
I have. And I think that actually got pretty well answered in the level barrier, because it was mostly just like going, and I already had a pretty good idea of where I wanted to start. It's mostly like, can I get into these later bosses without leveling? And it sounds like the answer is no, which is honestly okay.
Yeah, I have it now basically at easy Kalos, hard Seren, and like a 275, and then soloing C10A if it's your main, right? To be like this at 275, those are like kind of like the goals of the early stages of the late game. And for me, mid game is very clearly like definitely people start liberating, right? That's like near the end of mid game, like middle to end of mid game. Whether you're just like if you're more getting carried, then you can already start liberating in the early game, right? But for most people, that'll be like mid game to late mid game. And then maybe trying like normal Seren if you want that challenge. But I think a lot of people just skip Seren. The problem with Seren right now is that you just need the same amount of Sacred Power for it as hard Seren. And you basically want at least 2 high-level symbols or access to 3 symbols to be able to not have a fuck ton of damage reduction on Seren. So, and if you can do normal Seren, then the jump to hard Seren is actually pretty small. So normal Seren kind of gets forgotten. So I'd wish they would either make normal Seren... Well, I think they should just make a normal Seren lower sac requirement so that people can start practicing normal Seren earlier and then have a more smooth transition into bosses into Grandis than they do now. But I don't know why they haven't done that yet. Yeah, and solo hard, lucid hard will I would put like near the end of mid game essentially with with all these numbers according and connected. This one's a little tricky on like saying how big your matrix has to be because it really depends on how old your character is. Like my 280 has not even this because he was already over by 281 because he was already 280 when 6 Job came out, so I barely have anything built. And then some characters are level 270 and they already have this because they were there since day one and they've been grinding in Incernium, so they haven't been leveling very quickly, but they have been getting fragments at the same pace, so they're going to be ahead of the curve. So yeah, there's a lot of wiggle room in there. But
Yeah,
this,
that makes sense.
that helps solidify that point. Or did you
Yeah,
have more
no, I felt pretty good on that one coming in. I just wanted to
Okay.
see if you had any input, so pretty happy
Okay.
there.
All right. Measure 6 job efficiency for splitting between multiple characters. Yeah, that's a tough one. When 6 job came out, I really had to, for my account, really actively make the decision on like, am I? So in the beginning, I was like, okay, I'll just build both of them up evenly. And essentially, what that showed pretty quickly is that now neither of them are progressing.
No, I would definitely
yeah.
like the split. It's just like all the class discords have like, here's the order of what's most efficient, but almost none of them have what the actual gains are, so it's very hard to compare between classes like, oh, I will actually get more gains putting these fragments here compared to here.
Right. So that's the thing the Scouter can do. Again, this is for Korea, so it's maybe not perfect, but they also have the hexacore in here, and like how much you've already have, and then if you hover over the level, it'll show you like the percentage FD you get per 30 fragments.
Oh yeah, that is literally exactly what I'm looking for. Thank you.
Yeah, so that'll help you out. And then at the bottom it also shows you like how many more levels. Although I've seen this page malfunctioning before, so I don't know if this one is 100 because some people say it might be connected to the ranking system as well, and if it tries to take from the Korean ranking system, then it'll just tilt. But it'll show you here like percentage-wise like how close you are to being done. And how in total fragments, how close you are to being done. But I think, yeah, that those percentages probably what you're looking for, because it's not just the order, but also the reasoning directly behind how much it is, right? And then distributed. And that's why these jumps here, because to me it always looked weird. It's like, why does it say 25 and then 26 and 27? Why not just say 27? And the reason is because they have different gains per those levels. And if they have the same gain per level, then it'll just show up as a clump like this, going from 4 to 10 essentially. So that should allow you to compare them, you know, apples to apples basically.
That's, man, I'm gonna have to learn how to do Scouter. This has way more functionality than I knew about.
Yeah, I think they're still like adding stuff to it. I think there's also like a hyperstat optimizer built into it. It's a really good, really good project. Really useful. But yeah, like I said, I think Kobe had a video on it. A lot of people linked that one. Or we're talking about it. I decided to just kind of, there was some kind of it was like some spreadsheet that had some info in it, but it was pretty straightforward, because like when you're looking at the input, you're basically just looking at your stat window and just copying the numbers over and you're good to get started with it. But yeah, for the minutia and the exact functionality, it might be a good idea to just check that video and make sure you got all your I's dotted and T's crossed, so to speak. And then making your own guild versus joining one. Oof, that's that's a tough one.
Yeah.
What's the
I don't
consideration
know
there?
too much about what making your own guild implies basically, but I have a lot of mules where I would love to have like one guild skill. Just the crit damage for each week would make a massive difference, and you can get that just from covert.
Yeah.
But most of the like guilds that I have seen are like, oh, you need to do covert or flag, and I don't want to do covert on 10 mules. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so there's been a major shift now in terms of the requirements per guild, right? So basically, the percentages for culverts stay the same, but there's also a number limit on getting the skill points. So basically, if your whole guild gets 60,000 culvert, which, you know, if you have a full guild like with a bunch of boss mules, then you get the same as being top. I don't know the percentage off heart now. The top 10, no, top 15%, top 15%, I think, which is 45 skill points, so you can max out 3 whole skills. But so even if you do make your own guild, and your purpose of your own guild is to make it to, where's the updated numbers? I think Orange Mushroom had it. Better than our patch notes, I think. No, our patch notes did have them. To see the guilds. Oh, now I get the video. Bro, I just want the link, man.
All right, so for the super
No, shut up. Give me the link. Patch notes. There we go. So if you think that you, with some friends together, basically that's the goal. And like in Korea, there were a whole bunch of small guilds, but small guilds were kind of being punished for just not being able to meet enough G skills. So everyone was kind of like forced to go into skills until they were like very, very strong, and then kind of like settle if they wanted to be in a guild with friends, right? So you can see, yeah, so top 15% here, or 60,000 points for Culvert will get you 25. So if you can get to 10 points through the participation and to 10 through flag, then you get to 45 and you have 3 maxed skills. So even if you were only getting 3,000 Culvert and nothing else, you would have a maxed critical damage skill already, which I'm pretty sure your main character can get quite a bit more than 3,000 already,
yeah.
right? Do you know how much your character gets?
I have not done a culvert in a few weeks because, again, I just don't like doing it that often, but I think the last one I did was around 7k.
Yeah, I was going to say probably somewhere between 5 and 10. So that should already get you 17 points, working towards 19 just from that. No flag, no clearance whatsoever. So if your main goal is just to get 1 skill max and have some kind of goal growth towards 2 or 3, that's the thing you can do. Or it would probably be pretty easy as well to find some guilds right now where you could say like, hey, if I join with like 4 characters and I can do like in total 10,000 culvert per week, is that enough for 4 characters? And if they're like, yeah, sure, that's fine, you can just throw all your characters in there. If you get, you know, maybe 7k, 8k on your main character, and then 2k on another one, and then you just do 2 culverts, you know, that's less than, it's like 5 to 10 minutes out of your entire week to get access to
a lot reasonable.
3 full G skills, right? That's because that's one of the main things as well that's like included, but it's hard to, you know, max to like graph that. But I would say that's one of the most important things to fund bossing mules with, is just to have them in a guild with like at least 2 max skills. But I think going towards 3 max skills is between 2 and 3, right? Is very reasonable for a boss mule, just because it saves you so much money. You know, it's so much damage from critical damage, boss damage, and damage.
Okay.
So yeah, I would look at these numbers and see if you have some friends that maybe wanted to join, maybe your girlfriend, you know, you guys wanted to make a guild already, and then you each put like 4 characters in there. Some guilds just have like free open, but then yeah, they will technically, most of the time they will look at culvert. But then if there's a bunch of people in there who get like 800 or 900 culvert, you could come in and you can say like, hey, you know, I want 4 spots, but I can bring in like 8k. That's on 2k on average. They'll probably love that over just like 4 randos who get like 800 points, right? So at that point you have a good negotiating position, and as long as you have that standing consideration, and then if you get stronger on your main and your main can just do 8k or your main can do 10k, then you only have to do 1 run a week and you don't have to worry about those mules either. So that's usually my advice, or before this change my advice was like, try to get 1 character pretty strong, try to get that character into a guild, and then negotiate that character's position for like if they have a boss mule guild or maybe starting one, and then throwing your boss mules in there. And then because you're contributing to the main guild decently, that can, you know, if you can leverage that position, you can get yourself access to G skills and stuff like that in a side guild. But with this change, there might be multiple options for you. Some people, I'm pretty sure some people just throw all of their random mules just in random guilds that all don't have guild culvert requirements, or they just switch every week if they do get kicked, and then they just do their skills whenever. But that's a whole lot of extra work, so this could work out.
Okay. I will probably give that a try. I like the idea of starting my own guild, but also, like, there's a limit to how much time I want to spend on an ultimately silly project.
Yeah,
I can just
I would say
join someone else's.
Yeah, the main downside to like management is if you don't have like big expectations, management of guild is pretty whatever. The problem is like right now is the guild castle. Starting with that now, those researches take forever, and I don't know if you know about the enhancement room.
I'm aware it's existed. I have never experienced it myself, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, but you know what it does, right?
Yeah, just gives you star catching all the time.
Yeah, so for the research for that, it's like really far down in the tree, and there's a whole bunch of research you have to do. Like you have to build up all of these, the expansion, And then I'll oh, sorry, that's not for Guild Enhancement. For Guild Enhancement, you have to just build it with the drops, which are very rare, right? The Breaths of the Artisan. You have to get 30 of those. Well, first you have to get the recipe, but that's actually the easy part. The other thing is like guilds. Guild totems is what I meant to say. Sorry, guild totems is a whole bunch of research down if you want to be able to buy those for all your characters. But some guilds probably just open up and say like, hey, I just want to buy totems. Can I buy totems anywhere? They'll probably just let you in, let you buy them, and then you can leave again, something like that. But the enhancement room, yeah, the enhancement room is pretty useful, especially if you're looking at like the calculator, you know, of like expected cost. Really on projects like to 21 and beyond, and on level 200 items like on Arcanes and especially on Eternals, it does end up being quite a lot of money combined, being able to just not having to star catch and having it appear 100% of the time. It's definitely a big bonus, and yeah, having done that on 2 guilds now and maybe starting to work on a 3rd guild for a room like that, even with a bunch of people running C10A weekly, those drops are very rare to build that room, and yeah, that can be tricky. So even then, I would put like your guild leader on like your side character probably, or move them around to other characters whenever you need to, you know, upgrade and then join another guild for upgrading and then join back later or something like that. Because it is definitely worth it if you throw it into the calculator.
Okay. I think that answers that as well. Thank you.
Okay. All right, and then you do wanted to specifically look at the Kain gear to kind of see where you can make some short-term
if like
gains.
there's anything you think that I'm doing incorrectly, if there's anything that seems like it would be able to significantly more efficient than anything else to boost right now, that kind of thing.
Okay. Let's keep an eye on the backups. Okay, that's pretty healthy. Oh, your Kain is getting all the weapon boxes, I see. Poor
yeah,
Evan.
it's been very tilting.
Poor Evan, missing out. I see 9 earrings here, 6 belts, yeah. And 1 pendant you bought.
Yeah, that is transferred. The plan was to make it into drop gear, but I got to Shangri-La, decided I wasn't going further, and I was already getting good rates, so it's just kind of been sitting there. It doesn't have, like, Legacy Flame.
Oh, the Sweetwater.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about the Sweetwater.
Yeah,
no, the Superior was I just figured I would need it eventually, but it didn't end up booming going to 21 after the transfer, so now I just have an extra.
So wait, so the Sweetwater is transposed and what, 17 or so?
It's transposed in 17. I was going to make it into drop gear, but I just didn't need the extra damage, so I never bothered.
Okay. So it could potentially go higher stars with Commercy and then take pressure off the daybreaks, I guess.
Yeah, which I normally do Vihilla in party, or sometimes don't even make it to it, so definitely I have not got one a blink for a daybreak yet.
Yeah. And then Howard Saren can also drop it, but yeah, that's still a work in progress, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just to have that visual. Let's see. Yeah, so FAMs are in a good spot. Badge effects seem like they're in a good spot. You got your attack, damage, crit rate. Yeah, not too much you can do there, unless they add something crazy. You got some healing already. It's very nice. Some IED. Large drop, okay, makes sense. Stats, hey, at least something went to 10, you know? And probably pretty cheap, because the main level is only 3, so, you know.
Yeah, I didn't understand how it worked, I just saw that I was supposed to level it, and now I do understand. I'm like, oh, 3 main stat, but I'm not gonna fix it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe much later. Yeah, exactly, because eventually, if we get access to 6, all of it will eventually cap. But then you'll have to re-roll and min-max to make sure that you like hit the maxes. So maybe in like 5 or 6 years it'll be worth min-maxing on, and then by that time you'll be swimming in thousands of fragments, so you can always just come back to it and do it, you know. And they're also adding. They added an event in Korea as well, where during as a Sunny Sunday event, if you re-roll your stat thingy, then the percentage of, I think there's just like a multiplicative or an additive extra percentage chance of hitting the top row instead of the bottom ones. So then it will be like a Sunny Sunday event to work and fix your stat matrices, essentially. So that's a project for later. Yeah, I'm not 100% on the exact order for Kain, but I'm assuming you're just following that
Yeah, I'm
one.
just following it.
A little bit more grip coming up.
Actually, no more origin.
More
I got
origin, okay.
the grip before second mastery, and apparently it changed the priority on that. Or I just
Right.
misread it. That does happen.
Well, yeah, they could have also updated when second mastery came in. Obviously, like slotted in somewhere halfway, right? So a lot of people had to like kind of more grip. Had to like readjust like what they were working on, and then it's interesting to see that the Fatal Blitz and the Beam, I guess, don't need to go past one because they are 90 seconds, so you're using them twice as often. So I'd expect them to maybe get up there as well.
I mean, I have this
Well,
bookmarked. Yeah, they
yeah,
go up after. They really don't go up for a while, actually, because a lot of their damage is from the Death Blessing stacks, which isn't boosted.
right. Oh,
Like, you
yeah.
get it after 29 and 27 mastery courses when you start
Okay.
moving
Damn, okay, that's really
those
far.
higher.
Yeah, there's still going to be some mastery cores for a lot of classes that are really going to damage creep people. Because when I think about Arc, we've got like all of our Flora skills maxed and all of our Spectra skills maxed, which is like really cool. But like our biggest damage is like our impending deaths, which is basically like your your death blessing stacks, and our main attack, like our endless dream. So like if this or endless nightmare, like if those two still get buffed, that's still so much power creep. Because one time I did my culvert, I forgot my impending deaths. I mean, I thought I did everything, and I'm like, how did I just get 20? I got like 22k instead of getting like 45, 47. Like I got half my score, and I thought I did everything perfectly, and I'm double checking everything. I was like, where's my toggle? I was like, oh fuck, I forgot the fucking toggle. That's just because there's so much going on, and you're thinking about the timings, and you don't really see it. It's like, why is the damage so like almost done? It's like, yeah. So just that thing is like half our damage. If that gets boosted on a mastery core, then that's a whole other level. Same thing with you guys. If you somehow get more bonus damage from the death blessing stacks, that'll. I mean, but Kain is also in a good spot, right? Damage-wise, I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Its 6-minute burst is insane. Its 3-minute burst is okay. Its DPM is mediocre, is what I would describe it at. Like, my 6-minute burst is almost double my 3-minute, and that's a problem in bosses like Will.
Yeah, it's hard to
It's
split it
so
up
hard
evenly.
to like split it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we got like a little bit of min-maxing here to go, but not much. But yeah, this looks fine. I guess if you're doing Black Mage and everything, but I guess you're not using the cleanses a lot. Are you using them on C10 every now and then?
I use the cleanses on both Black Mage and like Gloom. Normally in Black Mage, I swap out Advanced Blessing for Special Node.
Oh yeah, gotcha. Yeah, it's got to be the lowest damage increase. Or maybe if you're in a party with a archer or something, you could swap out the decent sharp eyes or something.
Well, I'm in a party with a bishop, so.
Yeah, well that makes even more sense then. Yeah. Okay. Backups we have in mind. Okay, so your full. What's your combination drops? You gotta.
It's in the head-in, but it's 60 Mesa, 180 drop. I got the 60 Mesa trying to get double drop before I had the drop familiar. So I was trying to get just even a little bit closer to 400.
Okay. But your income, you put that here as well. Your income is in a good spot where you don't feel like you need the meso right now. You'll just get hybrids later.
My income is massively from. The massive proportion of it is from boss and mules. Almost none of it is from grinding. I would much rather have it be. I would much rather have more drop and get more fragments and nodes.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, and especially because you're not really planning to go hard on the grinding now. Ultimately, it comes down to what gives you the most damage, right? And fragments are going to be the most damage for quite a while. So rolling out of that in favor of meso is probably not a good idea. If you could just make more hybrids slowly, one after the other, then that will help your account more. Okay, looks good. Disable max. The last event was good for symbols, right? I see you got your 885.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I haven't actually eaten a lot of those symbol selectors yet.
Okay, nice.
I'm just I'm a daily gamer. I'm very consistent on dailies. I just do not like to grind.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, it's more of a constant in this game, or I guess in my channel, where a lot of people are more towards slightly more casual terms of levels of commitment versus, you know, like, oh yeah, I just gotta grind 10 hours a day. I think it's way more reasonable, but it seems the majority is just like people who just 5 or 6 WAP a day. It seems like a standard thing in some communities. I'm like, how?
I can't even
who are you
fathom
people?
that.
Not even like not liking it, but just having the sheer time to be able to do that. It's just so wild.
Yeah, it's like I work 4 10s. I have 3 days a week off, but I have like real life activities to do during even on the days off. I couldn't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's wild. But you know, hopefully everyone gets to play as much as they want to. You know, or as much as is reasonable. Let's see here. You got 17, so you're working up to 19 arcanes. So I guess the shoes are your crux.
Yeah, they boomed twice on the Shining, but I have a backup for them, so 5, 10, 15, I'm gonna push them a little.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good stuff. Yeah, maybe we should start at the top, right? Let's go 2-6 with 2-6. And it's 19. You said you were halfway through living, so like 4 to 5 more clears, probably?
No, September will be my 3rd month. I'm not very far into lib.
Okay, gotcha, yeah. I mean, I guess you do have backups, so you could consider 21ing, but there's probably some other stuff to work on first, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Perfect budget potentials. I like that. These are definitely potentials that you want to keep. You can always, you know, try to throw a whole bunch of money at your gear to try to get better. Considering the flame, though, do you still have black flames left over from events?
I do have a lot of black flames left over, and if it would be worthwhile to put them there, I wasn't like super confident how good that was.
Yeah, this is okay. I would say, like, if you're just switching onto an arcane and you want to have something on it, like having at least tier 6 attack and then something else that does something is good. But, you know, given the time factor, the fact that you might even go for 21, and given the fact that you have the flames, I'll probably use some flames. I don't know if you have still Eternals as well on the Evans weapon, if you're buying that first, to try to get something solid there. But usually the equivalent of what I aim for would be like tier 6 attack, and then like tier 5 boss damage equivalent, so something like 10% damage equivalent. So, and then if I remember correctly, damage percent is flame score wise usually around a 15, and then all stat is around a 12, and then stat is around a 1. So like 15 would be like 150 on the damage, and this is like 66 with some strength, so that's 69. Nice. So that would basically be like another 81 flame score over this. I think that's a good spot. So yeah, if you had the same thing with 6% all stat or something, then you'd be probably like at a good spot, or 10% damage, or some all stat and some regular percent damage and a little bit of stat, right? Anything equivalent there.
Okay, so I'll probably push a little there as well, thank you.
Yeah. The potentials I like a lot, even though they're not, you know, some people might say they're like ugly. They're all functional, which is already all good. And there's only one IED line. If there was multiple IED lines, I would be looking at maybe redoing that. But the only thing here that really is like, you know, you'd be looking for is like doing emblem stuff, but you're working towards Seren, so I think you can hold on to this. And then secondary is the thing you could work on, but that's always when you can make another one on the side and then roll on the side, right? I think you have
I took another one up to legendary on DMT.
Yeah.
I just have not had the money that I wanted to spend on that over other things.
No, that's totally fine. But like, yeah, because this is technically like a double prime, right? So it also feels a little weird to roll away from that. So you probably want to get at least like a 21 attack and 30% boss to roll. That will probably be better.
That was actually what I was going for. I did all of these potentials on Cube Sale, and I looked at the calculator, and it's like, oh, 3-line attacker boss is 4 bill, and I spent like 25 bill and barely saw this.
Yeah,
I'm just like, we're settlers, we're settling.
Yeah, very nice. There's always, I mean, there's planning, and then there's the reality. You know, you gotta be able to roll with the punches. Damage gear, what do you got here? Very nice spear ring. Contrast is looking good. Reinforced could use some work, but we'll check with the fourth
Yeah,
ring. Is the
I
slime?
figure the reinforced gets swapped out is
Yeah,
why I've like left it a little more mediocre.
exactly. No, that's no, that's fine. That's fine. And then slime. What's your sea slime setup right now? Are you doing it or?
I'm usually either duoing or soloing. Like
Okay.
the duo run is like 6 minutes, but the solo run is like 15 or 17 because I'm duoing with my girlfriend who is a bishop, so it's very
Yeah.
large difference.
You get that. Well, you can do that big 3-minute burst on every groggy stage, right? So that always
Yeah,
helps.
like I'm pretty well equipped for it. It's a lot of health.
Yeah, no, he's well, I mean, he got nerfed, thank God, with this update, right? Like I think they decreased his shields, they decreased his base damage reduction, or his shields, his heals, his base damage reduction, and I think his total HP. So before that, I was just going into normal and blowing up normal because I couldn't be bothered either. With
I
C-Slime.
should give
And
that a
then
try then. Yeah.
Since this change, I was like, okay, now I can start doing sea slime, and then now it's doable within like a reasonable time. But yeah, if I don't have a party, because for normal it's pretty hit or miss. I had one character that got like 6 rings out of just doing normals, and then I had a few other characters that just got nothing. And then it's like, yeah, you kind of have to push sea slime then. But that's another
even
benefit.
on Sea Slime, like I've seen one ring in 2.5 months, so
Yeah, I mean, mathematically, the chance of getting rings, even in a 6-man party with like equal distribution, should be better to do Sea Slime like in 6-man than to do normal solo in terms of ring income. So if you can do the runs, I would always try to do Sea Slime. But yeah, but for like alts, you could definitely just blow up normal for a while and then kind of see after a while if a character gets lucky, then that means you don't have to worry about a Sea Slime party. And then if they don't get lucky, then, you know, you might want to look into that kind of thing.
okay.
Yeah, potential is not really great, of course, but that's also, you gotta look at whether the ring gets established in Star Force first. That makes sense. Pendant looks okay. I guess looking at the flame is maybe not the best. That could maybe use some work. And it's probably, looking at the accessories, like Star Force wise, I'm definitely looking at trying to see if maybe a cube sale, like end of November, is still quite a ways out. It's still 3 months out, but you could be looking at some kind of cube range here to try to see if you can get everything to like at least the accessories to like 2.5 line, right? To get it to like
Yeah,
where
I
the
would
color
definitely
treasure
like
is at.
them at least that far.
Like 24 to 27% or 27 to 30 on like the slime ring. There's definitely some pieces. You got like 3 pieces, 2 pieces. And Pap Mark here. Twilight Mark 21 is nice. Since the belt is 21, you could definitely elect to push that guy up to Legendary and to 24 to 27 as well. So I'm leaning towards cubing once the shoe is done, right? And maybe weapon. Honestly, I don't know how much money you're gonna have, but like weapon to 21 could be reasonable because you have what, 4 backups? 5? 4.
4 backups, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have a lot of money. I'd honestly prefer to move it onto my Evan if it's that balancing of I'd like to be stronger on my Kain just without putting in any money, which isn't gonna happen.
No, that tends to be a requirement most of the time that you at least throw some money at it, right? But yeah, the shoe is definitely a Star Force thing, and then I think after that it's a cubing thing. Definitely like flame the weapon, and then flame the Evan weapon. This is all pretty good. Yeah, I would like the superior or the pendant potential to be like the min level for all your accessories, essentially. So like the Papulatus mark, since the Papulatus mark is past 16, you weren't considering transposing that one?
I have actually an extra. I've only ever seen these things on my Kain and one on my Evan, but I have an extra, so I was like, I'm just gonna tap this one up. If it booms, then I will maybe transfer the other one, but I was never particularly sure on what I wanted to do there.
Okay. Well, I mean, your options are basically like 20 Black Beam mark, YOLO Papulatus mark, a regular monocle, but that's basically gonna end up being almost the same as a 20 Black Beam mark because of the flame and the set bonus difference. So that's almost not worth it. and then transposing into monocle. That's like your alternative because you might just not see an eye patch, right? So that's those are like all the options. If you have one right now and you're okay, because you do have the Sweetwater pendant as well that you could bring up, but I guess it's not a requirement right now. You got a 21 Dom and a 21 Superior.
Yeah, without the flame, it seems like Sweetwater would a 21 Sweetwater even be better than a 21 Dominator? Because it's missing out on, probably 50 plus flame score.
Yeah, the level, so if you ignore the extra flame here, so a 21 Sweetwater is plus 118, plus 75 on the Star Forcing.
Okay, yeah, that is, not insignificant then.
And 3% higher on the potential as well because of the tier. The flame will probably end up being at the most a 50-ish flame versus getting a better flame on the Dominator. You could definitely get something over 100. So that takes 50 stat off again. So if you're a 118, the base is the base higher as well? Yeah, it's 34 base, right? So the base plus the flame is 152. So let's say that we get a 50-ish flame score on there. So it'd be a 202 and 75 attack. Let's say that this one gets another flame score of an extra 20 or something. So 50, 50, 40, 45 stat and 12 attack and 3%. Yeah, so that's worth considering because, yeah, Dominators, even though you have some, 22ing Doms and stuff, I can get pretty spicy. Although it will get, they will always have staying value because then you can always use them to transfer if you get a source, right? So they never really lose their potentiality there. But I think at this point that would be too much of a sideways upgrade, honestly. It's something you could consider if you have a lot of Dineros. But then in the same breath, you could also try to use those Dineros towards 16 Papmark transposing and then at least going for a 21 monocle. That in itself would probably be a bigger upgrade and I think I have that. I had one on this character as well. Let me double check. Did I anvil it? Oh yeah, I keep getting... By the way, that's the worst part about Pitch Waiting Room. When you finally hit, then you keep getting the same backups that you already have. It's fucking terrible.
Of course.
My DA now has 3 backup eye patches as well, and my Arc has 5 Berserks just sitting there. It's please give me anything else. I don't need these anymore. Where is the Black Beam Mark? No. God damn, where's that thing? Oh, did I anvil it? It makes it so much harder to find. Oh no, wait, it's in my different setup. Yeah, here. Okay, so that's 21. So that's also the 118 and 75, but that's with the base stats here are a little bit lower. But that is 118 and 75 at 21, but in a potential guarantee versus risking this Papulatus mark is quite a big upgrade, right? That's what is it, 42 stat, 40 attack, and then you lose, again, you lose some of the flame score, of course. This one is a better flame score, so you lose a little bit there. But then it's one of those things where if you want to make that next big jump, having that, or starting to do Commercy or keeping up with Commercy, then you're basically treating that as a potential future upgrade, at least a guaranteed one. Even if you don't hit any of the other things, if you don't hit a lot of boxes, if you don't hit pitches, then you can always retreat into that to still make an upgrade for your character.
So, since I have a second Papulatus mark, does it seem reasonable to tap the one at 19, just YOLO, see if it hits 21, and then if it booms, do the transfer?
Yeah, you could do that, because even though it has a pretty nice flame, I would say, the potential isn't if this was a 30 or a 33%, I probably wouldn't risk that. But since the potential still needs all the work, and it's only quote-unquote at 19, you could try that, because I think if this does hit 21, it gets so close to even a 22 transposed at that point, that you could say, then I'm not going to even try that whole project. And okay. I guess, and as a backup, if it does boom, what do you have another Black Bean mark on backup?
I have a Black Bean mark that I was using previously. It's 19 star, only 15% potential, but it's not a big downgrade. It's not anywhere in there, but
Yeah, no, it's here. I think this one, right? The
Yeah, it's
unique
just
one.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have 5 additional backups here, or 6 even. So you could get that one to 20. Well, mathematically, you could get that one to 20 for that extra star, so that you basically have the same or even a little bit stronger than now. Yeah, I think that's a good point. Yeah, it's a viable strat for sure.
Okay, thanks. I will probably go for that on 5, 10, 15 then.
Yeah, so other than that, it's mostly just like one more round of like cubing through all the accessories to like bring them all up. From web, yeah, and then a few Star Force projects, and I guess the heart as well, right? Heart has a easier time even than accessories.
Oh my god. Okay, I have spent over 10 billion trying to cube that heart to 30%.
No, I know.
I was like, oh, it's the easiest one. It goes faster.
Yeah, hearts are worse for me as well. It's just, it knows that it's supposed to be the easiest, and it always ends up being the most expensive. Like, I'll have hats or like tops and bottoms that end up hitting before hearts for some reason. I don't know why.
Mad.
Just bad seed, I guess. Yeah, and I guess working the top up to like 21 to 24, pants up to 21 to 24. Just bring them up. The hat 21 to 24. Just all of those little bits are all going to add up. It's all going to be, if you just add it up, it's all going to be like 60 to 70% dex probably that you gain from that. Shoulder to like 2.5. Shoes are 24. Yeah, so for this, where your arcane is at, because like glove, you probably also want to go to 2-line crit damage, or if you could hit crit with 2-line dex, or crit with 2-line dex, one of them prime, then that would even be better than just flat out 2 critical damage. But something in that ballpark is still pretty affordable, but that's a bright cube project, right? Everything else is just glowing cubes essentially. Yeah, and then 19. Yeah, and then maybe one more star on the shoulder, but you'll just wait until you have backups for that. Don't need to rush that last star. The flames are all looking pretty decent, fine. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Serious good, like nothing too crazy as in nothing too that needs like specific attention. No, 112 mark is fine. That's good. Yeah, it's just little things. It's mainly just like one more round of cubing, I think, to make sure that your Star Force and your cubing are kind of like aligned in terms of efficiency. And then yeah, hopefully you hit something big on the weapon. If you hit a tier 7 with nothing, then you could elect to keep that. I don't know exactly how much tier 7 would be for you. Oh, that's the wrong one. Score calc. Was it 276 base? Yeah. 222. So yeah, we were 170. So right now your extra dex is adding like 22 attack-ish, right? So it's like equivalent to like 155. So that'd still be an extra 15 attack. So you could keep that, or yeah, if you hit literally anything on top of a tier 7, then you're chilling. But otherwise, I would go for this plus like 10% damage equivalent on the weapon.
All right, that makes sense to me.
And then arcane weapon on the Evan. Hopefully you can get like equivalent flame there, maybe like a tier 6 and 8% or something. You know, you keep there, and then try to get your black flames here. If you have left over, you can always switch back. That kind of thing. The great thing about the black flames is you don't have to choose the roll over, right? You can keep the existing one, so they get a lot of good value from that. And yeah, matrix-wise, you can pretty much dedicate it to whatever character you want. At this point, the gains on the Kain are going to be marginal at best. There's a little bit more attack from Blink, a little bit more stat from Rope Lift, and a little bit more damage on the arrow, which I don't even know is noticeable.
Yeah, I honestly haven't looked at my Kain's stat hyper or V matrix since I was like, okay, important stuff's at 25, we're done. I unfortunately did do my Kain before I knew you were supposed to level Rope Lift, so that poor sad Rope Lift is just sitting there at 1.
Oh, otherwise it would be like level 7 or 8 now, I guess.
Yeah.
Something around there, yeah.
I just disassembled all of them like a fool.
I mean, it's really only on a main. On any kind of remotely side character, I would also just extract them, because, well, maybe in my position I wouldn't, because I'm just like funding so many characters at this point. But for anyone working on their first like side character, I would still I would definitely still extract all of the extra decent skills, right? Except for Holy Symbol. And I would probably also extract like the extra blinks and rope lifts.
I normally...
For bind, you could go for a higher level bind if you wanted to. Because if you can get the bind down to like 100 seconds, then that does mean that you can use the bind also to confirm your Dragon Beam and your Fatal Blitz in the in-between burst. And you'd only be pushing your bind like an extra 10 seconds, but then you'd 100% be able to confirm them every time. So that is something you could consider.
That might be worth considering, because I would say I miss a significant part of that, like at least 20% of the time, especially on bosses like Will.
Yeah. It's more for solo, but like on my Cannoneer, I have like the same thing where, you know, you shoot out the big cannons and you have technically everything up on a 90 seconds, so I went to level it up. I think you level it up to 23 or 24. Depends on your level of the Mercedes, right, for the cooldown. And then in the leveled up slot, and then you just, you know, because 90-second cooldown to be bound and 10-second cooldown for the actual bind, so every 100 seconds you can technically bind. Make sure that you don't accidentally just press it whenever it's up, because it could still be blinking on the boss. Double check that, because I've had that a few times. But then you can at least always confirm that 90-second as well, just by pushing it down a little bit. For solo, that's and you might then be ring swapping and all that stuff as well, right? Once you hit those rings, so then confirming that damage even more for that stable, you know, because you already said like your DPM isn't the best. So then if you lose some of that burst, that's an even bigger hit to your overall speed, I would say. So that's something to maybe worth considering once your other characters, or if you have a bunch of EXP nodes and you don't really find a character that really needs them, you could throw them on there to.
No, I never have too many nodes. I started making new characters way too early. Like my first boss mule had to go to 235 to do Lomian because it had like level 5 boost nodes, because I had nothing.
Nice, yeah.
Definitely not my best decision I ever made there, but.
Oh well, at least you had access to all the symbols immediately, right?
Yeah. I guess that's 234, my battle mage still sitting there.
Oh, it is that one, yeah. I think mine is 234 as well. Huh. But mine is definitely way weaker than yours, because I leveled it with the Abyssal Expedition AFK EXP, so... Zero funding on there. Okay. That's the equip stuff. Your Legion builds. What's the buff duration? Have you looked into the invulnerability changes? You know, with terms and conditions and the duration and everything. If people want you to have buff duration.
I think for Kain specifically, those blocks should be over in crit rate. I've looked, it's not, I don't think, worth for me to pull anything out of IED into crit rate yet, but I think those should be in crit rate, because you get your full, like, burst out under 10 seconds.
Yeah.
That's just that's just my generic boss-in page, though, and for most classes it's nice to have an extra second of the AB link.
Yep. No, definitely. And then extra crit build up here, mid stats, yeah. Okay, that all makes sense. And for your Legion artifact, what did you follow for that?
Sorry, I completely forgot to even put that in.
Yeah, it's still pretty new. I
forgot to check it as well. Boss damage drop I have maxed, then I have crit damage Meso IED maxed, and I'm working on EXP buff durations CD skip.
Okay, yeah. CD skip can be pretty useful, right?
The CD skip is mostly for other characters, like Kain gets not much from it, but Evan really likes it. I'd eventually like to, I think my next Hyperburn will be Cadeno, which obviously, very much is a skipper.
Did you get the extra assassinate skills on the Kain?
Yeah, you do get the extra assassinates, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
But you're only, realistically skipping those in, Grandest Blessing anyway.
Yeah, so with Grandest Blessing, yeah. I guess just them combined is just a little bit more chance to just skip around. But I guess if you skip too many, then you don't have blessing stacks anymore to consume, so then they don't hit as hard anyway, right? Yeah, okay. Sure, you builds a Legion board for Kain utilizing crit rate grid. Yeah, that's what we said. Yeah, eventually that's the. I guess because you're so burst heavy at this point, it's probably already worth to go to take the points out of Dex into crit that are extra in there, just because of the extra critical damage when you're bursting. And I guess the balance might shift a little bit once you get double critical damage on the gloves, maybe. But I think at this point it's still worth more to get like the extra one in attack because you leveled that thief. But like the extra dex pieces into crit will probably already help your damage. But maybe that's something you could check with the Scouter, right? Like just move those things around, use it as an alteration, and see like does that even like is that better or is the other one better? And the Scouter will just tell you.
Yeah, that sounds like something the Scouter's really good for. I'm very excited. I did not realize it had as much capability as apparently does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure they're still developing stuff for it as well to help out. It's a very nice... It catches a lot of the functionality that we're looking for and things, so it's really... You know, it gets more and more obvious to me as well why people are using it up there. That's where your income... Oh yeah, and then your hyperstats and everything. Damage there, ID, damage, blast damage, some crit rate, arcane power. You still need the arcane power for the content you're doing?
The arcane power was only for getting that extra 10% on Black Mage the first couple runs. I don't think I probably need it anymore. I can probably redo that.
Mm-hmm. Because I think you want to get the crit rate up to 10 just to get that extra critical damage during burst as well. And then, yeah, the rest is probably divided into boss damage and damage, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good to get, well, maybe get up the dex up to like level 5 or 6 and the attack up to level 8 or something. And then, you know, just dump the rest into... Or, well, I like to level the middle ones first, right? And then dump the leftovers into attack and then whatever left over there into dex, right? Kind of that order. Not to do it the other way around and then you're left with like 83 points and the next level is 85. Then you kind of boned, so then you need to do it backwards again. Because, yeah, there is definitely the extra bonus damage to the Black Mage is definitely a thing. But there is an event buff now, right? That has it. Plus the bonus event. So I think you can get an extra 90 arcane power, technically, out of the event skill. So 60 and another 30, I believe. So
yeah,
then,
so I can definitely be... Like, I only had, like, I think 20 arcane from the last event. I was just putting it in other things.
Yep. Okay. So I put min-max on that a little bit. Drop rate, passives, crit, and damage debuff. That sounds great. Because if you want to min-max, you could make a third setup to AFK on with boss damage and attack, so you have more combat power, so you get more Legion coins, but that's a bit...
I'm gonna not do that, thanks.
I'm just gonna offer that as a solution to all the people at home who are, you know, trying to get coins, okay? Link skills, yeah, that's kind of like to your own desire. If you need more survivability, you can always take the lower damaging ones out and squeeze in a little bit more survivability.
Yeah.
But
I really like having Spirit, but other than that, like, I don't find many of the other survival ones do much for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... Yeah... I think the hero... The warrior one... Warrior link skill has saved my ass more times than I care to admit, but I think that one is pretty juicy. For mobbing, that seems pretty straightforward, yeah. Okay, yeah, and then we're back at equipment. Okay. Yep. Okay, I think we're good. Did you have any remaining questions?
I don't think so. I think we went through my whole list. Thank you so much. This was very informative.
All right, you're very welcome. Yeah, good luck on the Star Forcing events. And, yeah, don't be a stranger. Hopefully I see you in chat sometime.
Yeah, I'm usually working when you're in chat, but I've watched most of the ones that go up on YouTube.
Yep. I'll see your comments on YouTube then.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. And best of luck to you. And I will see you around.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye.
All right. Have a good one. Bye. Okie dokie. So that was one of our winners from the free sessions that we give away every month on YouTube. So if you want a chance of winning one of these ones as well, check out the YouTube channel check it out all the time. Obviously, why is it not your homepage that you're going to all day, every day? But around the 15th of the month, I usually post that I'm going to be giving away, and then everyone can just put in their Discord name, and then about a day or two after that, usually 2 days after that, I pull 2 winners, and you could be one of those winners. If you want one of these sessions as well, but you don't want to wait that long, you can check the description of the video, or you can go over to twitch.tv/Scardor and check out !coaching there, and there's a whole bunch of information on what you can do to get a session on other ways. You can get it through watching the stream, and if you're subscribed over there, which is very cheap, or free if you have Twitch Prime, Amazon Prime, that is connected. Or you could just buy a session, and then the prices will vary based on what kind of session you want. Short one, long one, private one, long private one, short public one, whatever. And then, yeah, we can go from there. Or if you have any questions like that, just hit me up on Discord, and we can work something out. All right, thanks for watching this session. Maybe check out another one. If it was helpful, useful, I'm glad. If it was just entertaining and keeping you from falling asleep during your WAP, then I'm glad as well. But yeah, thanks for checking it out. Watch another one if you want, or I'll see you live over at twitch.tv, where I stream every day and I answer any and all of your questions. I'll see you in another one. Bye.